It is never easy to understand that teachers know more and are much more than the subject they teach. They have come from many backgrounds and have majors that no one could ever guess they have earned. In this topic, we will be interviewing several teachers that teach different subjects. They get their jobs because they have a bachelor's degree, at least a 3.0 grade point average in college, and a passing grade on a teaching exam. How long have you been teaching for?
3 years. I've been teaching for 17 years.
This is year 28.
I've been teaching for 11 years this year.
This is my 6th year teaching. I started teaching here in 2013.
I've been teaching in Danville for 3 years, but I've been teaching for a total of 6 years. I spent 3 years in State College before I came to Danville.
I've been teaching for 6 years at Danville and a total of 12 years altogether.
What is your favorite grade to teach?
7. All of them.
I've been primarily 8th grade, but I've been sprinkling in a little 7th grade. It's all good and bad, comes with it.
I've only ever taught 8th grade. I did teach 9th grade honors and an 11th grade elective before, but I really like teaching 8th grade.
I've taught 6th grade and 8th grade social studies, but to be honest, 8th grade's my favorite.
I like teaching all the grades.
I would have to say all the grades are my favorite to teach. It's always dependent on my students more than the grade level.
What did you do before you were a teacher?
I was a waitress. I took care of my children and the grandparents in my family.
Student. I was at school and we got into education. So I did my first year of teaching. I was in school suspension coordinator. And then we got into the science stuff. I got into teaching right out of college.
I worked at a bookstore and I was a student in college.
Before I was a teacher, I worked in the museum field for 6 years. I worked in a couple different museums in Harrisburg and York and Scranton, and just decided after a while that it wasn't for me anymore, and I switched to teaching.
Before I was a teacher, I was a full-time student and I was a waitress, but right out of college I got my teaching certification and started teaching as my full-time job.
I did a lot of things. I sold cars, I washed dishes.
What schooling did you go through?
I went through high school and I went through college. So far, I went to Bloom for a bachelor's. I got a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Science. I have a master's in interactive and instructional technologies. I have a principal certificate. I have master teacher status through the state of Pennsylvania. I have a certificate working with children with special needs, and I'm working on a doctorate right now.
I went out of high school, I went to Old Dominion on a baseball scholarship, was down there 2 years. I transferred to Mansfield, finished up there, graduated.
I went to Bloomsburg University. I did their English program for my undergraduate, and then I did their curriculum instruction graduate program.
I went to Kutztown, which is near Allentown and Reading, and I graduated from there in 2006.
I had to go through undergraduate work, so I spent 5 years getting 2 bachelor's degrees and a minor, and then I went back and got my master's degree.
4-year university, I went to Penn State for my undergrad.
Why did you choose to teach?
I really like math and I like to help people learn math. I love it.
So I like science. I can't teach math, man. I don't want to teach math. That's for those tough nuts across the hallway there. I can't teach math. I gotta be tinkering.
I teach ELA because I like to kind of have class discussions. I like to do something different every day. And so the process sometimes all the time is going to be something different if we're working on different stories.
I am teaching social studies because all the time I was in school, people kept saying social studies was boring. And I couldn't stand it because I'm thinking to myself, it's wars, it's presidents, it's the coolest thing ever. And people keep saying it's boring. And I wanted to show people it's not boring.
I chose to teach Spanish because I really love the language and I love the culture, and I love being able to relay that love for the language and culture to the students that I teach.
I always loved sports, always liked playing sports, always liked knowing more about sports, so that's kind of why I got into phys ed.
What do you like about being a teacher?
I love all of you, all of my students. My students.
There's good and bad, as with any profession. I enjoy teaching young folks. I like the energy that they have, that they bring to the table. you can still kind of get them to get their eyes to poke out and say ooh and ah and things like that. So that's cool. I like that stuff.
I like that dynamic ability to, once again, kind of do something different every day. I've worked in jobs. I worked in fast food when I was in high school. I worked at, like in retail, and you're kind of doing the same sort of things all the time. In this job, it gets to basically I'm in control every day over what I do. So if I want to have a lot of fun one day, I have a lot of fun one day.
I like people finding out history is not boring. It's fun to see people come in and say, like, I hated social studies, but I don't hate it anymore. And it's like, that's good. That's what I wanna do.
I really like just being able to come to work every day and do something that I already love to do and try to get the kids that I teach to also love the same thing.
Helping to mold, shape students' lives, be part of their lives, and hopefully help them enjoy sports.